I can't tell you. Our kids don't know. Our kids know not even. It's not even on their radar. What we do.
Hi. It's good to see you again since, the last one was Spectrum. I missed the time when we can actually fly to do the interview with you.
I also know that you do musical, which is pretty surprising, right?
Do you? Who said that?
Well, I read it on your file. Like,
But I did a musical.
Yeah, and Oh, well, first of all, I would like to congratulate you on the honorary rank from the Royal Navy.
Thank you.
Yes. Are you the first one ever, because of a patriotic character that you play, to receive that honor?
No, there have other people been given the rank before, but first actor, I think. I don't know.
You are. I think you are.
No, I don't know. I'd have to check on that. I'm not sure.
Can you actually commend anyone in the Royal Navy?
No, I told them definitely don't give me anything to command. I'll happily stay.
But you're definitely the best Bond. Oh, you had the most intense and powerful, beautiful action scenes I've ever seen.
Thank you.
Among all 5 films you've done, which 3 things were the most unforgettable ones?
I mean, I'd have to go back to Casino Royale, I think, just because that was my first one.
Right.
And I think that, if you're talking about the action sequences or just memories, what
memories and action sequences.
The crane sequence in the Bahamas that we did, the chase, that was just, I'll never forget that, because I used to not be great about heights. I didn't like heights, being high up. And I had to get over my fear. Now I'm okay, but back then I was quite nervous about getting it right. So that was, and then seeing the action sequence when it came out, it was just incredible. And another 2, I don't know. There's so many memories I have from the 5 movies. I mean, there's some beautiful ones from here. Just where the backdrop you see here is Matera, and that we were filming there in Italy, and it's just an incredible place to film. And we did a car chase around these streets, so that was a wonderful memory. Are
you gonna miss this adventure life? I mean, maybe in the future.
Yes, of course I am. Yeah, I'm gonna miss working on the films. There's such an intense, wonderful sort of creative collaborative process. I'm going to miss that most.
And the funny things I noticed that you and your wife, Rachel, are both playing the greatest spy in the film history. In different movie universe, though. Did you talk about it? Imagine how cool it is to be your kids.
Yeah, I know. We're so not those people at home. I can't tell you. Our kids don't know. Our kids know not even. It's not even on their radar. What we do.
Oh, really? And I know you have a great sense of humor, and I can tell that in different interviews you are always talking very witty and humorous. Did you struggle to control yourself not laughing at particular scenes that you feel really funny about?
Always like that on a movie set, I think. We're often operating at a high level of tension, and things can be very. It breaks the moment. Sometimes you have to laugh. Sometimes one has to just laugh, just to sort of and stop and just take a moment, and just because it's you have to. I mean, a friend of mine used to say that I was asked a question, "What do you always bring to a movie set?" And he used to say, "My sense of humor."
That has been one of the greatest honors of my life. So.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Wow, I love the background. Gary, I mean, I can see the Chinese title for the movie. That's awesome.
What is the Chinese title?
In Chinese. That's awesome. I wish I could have that background too.
James, fate draws us back together. Now your enemy is my enemy. How did that happen?
Well, you live long enough.
First of all, I would like to congratulate you on the debut directing in the James Bond franchise. I know you're dying to direct this franchise when you first met Barbara. You mentioned you actually introduced yourself to her in 2015. Why does this franchise, so appeal to you? Especially you are the first American director who ever directed this classy British movie.
I could say, it was, from being a Bond fan from life, but it really came from seeing Daniel in Casino Royale, which brought me back into the franchise, and for me, it felt like a really fresh restart to the character and to the franchise, especially in terms of the complexity he brought to the character. I thought it was just so interesting. In terms of that development, when I met with Barbara, it was like, well, if Daniel's not going to do another one, where do you see it going? And even in that meeting, we couldn't really imagine another person playing Bond. So 5 years later, when Danny Boyle dropped out of the project, but Daniel Craig was still giving me Bond, I reached out again and said, hey, I would love the opportunity to talk to you guys about this and potentially direct it. It goes with what he brings to the character, and it goes with the idea that these films are dramatically interconnected, which makes them far more richer, I think, in terms of connecting all the storylines that have been presented in the last 4 films.
And we all know this is Daniel's last Bond movie. Did you feel pressure when you know that you're gonna make this? This is an iconic one for sure.
There was a lot of pressure. I don't know if the pressure came from the fact, as you say, like it's his last film, or the fact that, any number of factors that have to do with legacy. I think the biggest pressure was just trying to deliver a film, a good story, an exciting story for audiences in a very short period of time. So we had a very compressed window to come up with the screenplay, and then a very compressed window to plan the action and plan the filming, and then an even shorter window to edit the whole thing. And somehow we did it. We got it all done within basically a year and a couple months.
Nowadays, we can see a lot of superhero films. Filmmakers are comparing with the large scale like crazy. So how do you surpass those, superhero franchise? 007 itself, it's a superhero style too.
He is superhero style, but he's still a human, and he doesn't have superhuman abilities. What makes him exciting is, part of us, when you're growing up, think maybe I could be Bond. We're not born with X-ray vision. We're born as like regular, everyday people. I think it takes strength, it takes discipline. He's a very complex, damaged, interesting character, but he's still human. And his accomplishments come from being a human. It come from that, raw sense of, I guess, I don't want to say discipline, but it's something like that. There's something else that makes him move, that makes him feel like he's superhuman, but he's not. The action sequences in Bond films are traditionally shot with real special effects, with real stunt work, and I think that's what makes them, stand apart, say, from films where a lot of the stunts are done digitally.
And lastly, I know Daniel said this movie is a perfect time to say go big or go home. So exactly how big did you go? Tell us the best reason to see this movie.
Well, I think one of the biggest reasons to see the movie in the cinemas is, in terms of big, B-I-G, is IMAX. We shot IMAX for a huge chunk of the film with these cameras that were just enormous and negative. Each picture is this big now. It's a beautiful, beautiful stock to shoot film on, and when you see it projected on the screen, when your eyeballs are looking at the screen, you can see from top to bottom and left to right is filled with this image. It's such a transportative experience, and so that more than anything, in terms of what we did with the action, then on top of that, makes it a really thrilling ride. And I think in terms of the action, what makes the action interesting in this film too is that it's all driven by the story. It's not just action for the sake of acrobatics and explosions. It's action that is the character's path journey through the story.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carrie.
All right. Quick question. What's the direct translation?
It's
the Taiwanese character?
Literally means birth and death battle.
The battle between death and birth.
Yes. The Chinese character is, the first one is birth and the second one is death. And the third and fourth character means battle. So it's the battle of birth and death.
It's very poetic. I like it.
铃铛，就不会错过任何精彩内容，随时上架。我们下回再见。